Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Automation Rocketship channel. I'm your host, Andy Menon, and I'm here with my crew, Priya and Pradeep. Hey, guys.
Hello.
This week, we are going to be talking about the UiPath Forums. And as usual, our dashing MVP, Priya, is going to walk us through the UiPath Forums. And believe me, by the end of this video, you will walk away with a lot of knowledge on UiPath Forums to have your questions and your problems answered. So, Priya, please take it away.
Thank you, Andy. What is UiPath Forum? So, UiPath Forum is a portal where any user who's new to UiPath, be it an expert, be it an advanced level, for anybody, this is our portal where we can come and ask queries. So, imagine, think of it like a knowledge base where everybody has like their inputs or their thoughts and opinions about like certain questions or a certain product or a tool that they have used, and they have come across like a different best practice. This is the place where they share, and this is where the community comes across and they have their chat moments. So mainly all of us, myself, Andy, and Pradeep, we have all like been active in this portal, which is where we made friends eventually. And I'm very proud to say that this forum consists of like a large number of I think close to 1.5 million users in this forum platform, and that's across the globe. So whether the users are in your time zone or not, you'll get your questions answered. So the first thing that I would say is like if you do have any questions and you hit a wall trying to build your own automation or you're trying to figure out the product, don't feel shy to ask your question. And there's no such thing as a silly question, which is where this forum is like a more open community where it makes you feel more warm and welcomed, that you can ask any of these questions. And believe me that your questions are probably like have already been answered, because you're not the only one to have that question. And I promise you that like I have used this search like on a day-to-day basis, like every day. If I run into an issue, like I will use the search bar right here to come and type my question. And probably in the first five posts, like I would get my answer. And like I would search at least like a couple of more just to see like what are the other different ways to implement it. Not because the first post doesn't have the solution. So you might find a solution, but you can see what are the different approaches from various solutions. So that way you get like the perspective of like what other developers or like other solution architects or other implementers are feeling. And I think that is a really good way to hold this knowledge and share it with everybody. And like believe me, that's one of the best things about this forums is like people love to share. And they even share like the how to, especially with new products. You can see on this latest tabs, people always post like what's new and like what is really like useful for them. So here they even have a couple of new introductions in their products. So if UiPath comes up with any advanced features, the very first thing that you would see is this banner that would display like what's their preview features, like the pre-release or the latest release. You can see this is more like your release notes, and this keeps me like updated. So every time I need to know like what's latest in the product, this is where I come and click and read these release notes. And from there on, like you develop that knowledge. And feel free, like if you cannot find answers to your questions using your search, I would say use this new topic. And this gives you, this portal is so flexible that it gives you the option of choosing your categories, whether you have an automation problem or you found a bug in the tool and you want to report that, or you want to provide your genuine feedback and reach that. And believe me that the product managers for all the various different software within UiPath, they keep track of this, and eventually it gets answered and it goes into their, the backlog. And eventually that becomes a new feature, or that bug that you identified will get fixed. So if you do have a question, let's say with the studio or like document understanding or action center, any of those things, you can just choose your question here and then select the product. So based on like whether you're using studio or you're seeing a problem not knowing how to configure, the user access, or things like that, you can choose Orchestrator or Action Center or Studio X. Whatever product that is, all the UiPath products are listed and they are categorized by the build, manage, engage, learn, and discover. So you can always select the right category. And once you choose them, then you'll be given like what's the exact component. Because within each product, you're going to have like each sections and features, right? So select the right component that you're having issues with. And then you can proceed with your question. And the moment you start typing your question, you will see that like you will be given suggestions. Right now, I don't think I'm typing the right question, but if you type your question, it will pop up on this side like the questions that have already been answered. So if you did not find it in the search, this is an area where you can find it. And again, like one other thing that's really helpful is select the right tags. Okay, so if you're having like issues with Studio, say that it's Studio and don't choose Orchestrator in that moment. So this helps it get answered really easily. And also like give screenshots and provide a detailed description. Don't just say I have an error, because like that error could be anything. The other person reading will not know what's your situation. So help them like put them in your shoes and like help them understand, give them a clear picture of what is happening and what kind of environment that you're using. And if possible, if you can share the workflows, you can also do that. So you just need to attach that, and anybody who wants to help, they will like pick up that workflow, fix it, and then like probably even like give it back to you, upload the same workflow. And I have seen that happening like hundreds of times in this forum here.
Yeah, I would like to type a question. For example, how do I attach a file to an email? Would it show any hints?
So yeah,
Right.
it does. When I hit the moment I hit enter, then it pops up. Yeah.
Correct. So people could probably look for something that is similar. For example, I see if we scroll down, I think there'll be even more topics that are related to that. But if you don't see something like this, then you probably are on the right track to asking a new question, a
I mean,
question that
right. But the goal is to keep duplicates at the minimum, right? And
right.
if something is already taken care of, there is no need to repeat the same topic again and again.
Right.
One of the points I wanted to just emphasize on what Priya alluded briefly earlier, that this is not just a forum where you ask your questions and get your answers. What I have found this forum as a one-stop platform for me, because you have all the product announcements, you have all the product releases, you have all your Q&As if you're looking for use cases that you want to learn about, you have a use case repository that you can look at. You have product feedback. So product managers are not just listening behind the scene in a way to just keep track of the feedback, but they are actively engaged. And sometimes they actually create a post and invite folks to join in to provide their feedback, right? So you have a direct channel. It's not like your information gets filtered and that way it's reaching out to the product managers. You have a direct approach, and you can actually just tag them. You can tag anyone in the forum. That way you can, if you want to, if you know someone who can directly help you, you can reach out to them directly. With that, I'll hand it over to Priya.
Yeah, and thanks, Pradeep. That's a very good point. Like, like I would still say sign in with your account, because like this forums also has like badges. So this has the kind of gamification concept in the background. So the more you contribute or the more you even ask questions, you get like different kind of badges. And it also like takes into account like the amount of time that you spend reading each post, or even like looking at different posts, or even responding to somebody else's question. Based on that, you get like all these different types of various badges that are available. And that kind of like puts you in a spot where you become like from a very novice contributor, you can become an expert. Just like that, I think in the similar pattern, myself, Andy, Pradeep, and so many other MVPs earned that title of becoming a most valuable professional based on this community, because like we all didn't have that, that knowledge just from our projects. Because like I can have like a very minimum scope in terms of my project, but this community, the forum, opens up the world to like like limitless possibilities of like how different people are applying it differently, and how it applies to like various systems and solutions and interfaces. Because using that, you can learn, because that's how like I grew my knowledge, like answering other people's question.
Right. I think, Priya, even if one of the essential points of being in a community is that you might solve a problem of someone you rarely know, right? And that's a very, very motivating factor that if you look at a problem and you've already solved it, there is a compulsion for you to go out there and say, hey, this is how I've solved it. Take a look at this, see whether it can help you, right? That's a very motivating factor. And also what you gain from others, you would want to give back. That's and to your point about the badges and stuff like that, your statistics are tracked, right? For example, if we go to your profile and look at activity or look at your profile, it can show everything from the beginning of time, right? How many posts did you like? How many did you read? How many, right?
Yeah.
How many likes did you receive? How many likes? So it sort of says a lot about the users and their interaction with the forum. So, and from the last 2.5 years, I've been active with UiPath Forums, and this is the first time in my career that I have been such an active participant, because although I started just by reading, in the end, it came to a point that as I was receiving help, I was also passing it on to others, and that's how we all ended up here, right? Finding solutions to common problems, helping each other, and making this community such a vibrant place.
Yeah, totally agree, Andy. I think that gives that, especially if you've started your career as a developer, every developer has this gratification once you see that output. And that kind of gratification increases twice the amount when you share that knowledge.
Right. And to Pradeep's point, it's sort of very democratic and doesn't take into consideration the hierarchical positions of individuals, either in the user base or in the UiPath management hierarchy, right? You might probably get a response from the product manager if they think that you have nailed it with a very critical bug. uh, Chances are you will hear back saying, "Hey, I looked at this and we're going to fix it," right? And it happened with me a week ago. I posted something on a documentation issue where users will not be able to figure out what they're reading because the documentation contains some errors or things that they don't belong there. And somebody from UiPath, was the head of a product group, actually reached out and said, we took a look at it, yeah, we're going to fix it. So there is no hierarchy or any kind of chain of command here. If people feel that they have to pay attention to it, you will hear back.
Yeah, and things are very, and this means I have seen various other forums for different other technology platforms, but the way the forum is designed, it's very easy to access. There are not too many options to when you are creating a post or when you are navigating through it. So it's pretty easy and intuitive. So it doesn't bog down on you that okay, it's too complicated to navigate and find out the products. The homepage itself has the tags and each of the products very listed out very well. So you can go product wise. And if you don't find anything, like I think a month back, there was one request from one of the customers. They were looking for very specific information in terms of what are the security standards being used on one of the products, one of the UiPath products, and I couldn't find in anywhere in the documentation or anything, and I was looking for some latest information. So and I just created a post and I tagged a couple of active forum members from UiPath side, and they reached back to me in a couple of days with very detailed information. Uh, that I can respond back to my customer. So that in that way also it helps out. If you have some urgent thing that you're looking for or you're chasing down and you don't know how to find and where to find it, so that it works out that way too. Like Priya said, right? We are working in a certain domain and using a certain type of project more often than others, right?
Right.
That doesn't mean that those other products don't have demand in your industry or in any other industry, but other companies, other organizations might be leveraging them. So it's always better when you're trying to learn a particular product, you're also aware of all different other technologies that are coming out in that area.
Right.
So that
Yep.
keeps me very motivated in terms of coming in and just browsing it in a every day. Like it's just like a
Mhm.
newspaper, right? Right? You come here and you
Exactly.
just browse through it and you have all the information that you're looking for.
Yeah. And one last thing that I will add is I think a few years back, just the last couple of years, they added this feature called as ask your questions in your own language. So I myself personally have answered questions in like Japanese and like Korean, because like I don't know any of these languages. I still use Google Translate, but I can understand like where the technical problem that they are facing. So I think it helps us like be more part of that community, where that like that they have a problem, and I know this answer. So I just took the time. It took me less than 5 minutes just to translate my answer, my response to this person, and all I needed to show them was just a screenshot to say like just click on these buttons, and that's where you'll find these settings.
Yeah.
And it's very very flexible.
I mean, it's not just that your work remains, and sometimes it is what you might call it's ageless, because I don't know whether Priya and Pradeep you have observed, but this is something I've observed. I would have posted a solution or a question to a problem, right? I remember this because I posted a question to my problem, which is subsequently solved after experimentation. So I went back to the forum, and this was year 2020 or 2021, early 2021. This is now almost end of 2022.
Mhm.
And a week or two ago, I saw that someone has favorited a response that I had put it back in 2021. So
Yeah.
basically, I don't know whether you guys have noticed it too, because you will yourself think, when did I post this question? And
Yeah.
you'll go back
Yep.
and you look at it and say, oh yeah, this is a problem I solved. And
Yeah.
somebody a year and a half later found it useful, sometimes longer. So your effort is not going to go in vain. Your participation will linger, and it is almost timeless sometimes, because there will be people coming after us. There will be people who are learning,
Yes.
and they will be looking for those problems, and chances are you've solved it, and your solution would be favorited. And the other thing that you might want to do if you find a solution is mark it as a solution. There is a feature, Priya, I don't know if you
Yeah.
want to show something that has been marked as a solution. If you mark that as a solution, what happens is another participant who has solved the question, the problem for you, gets a boost in their standing in the community, and it makes it easier for other members to find a problem that's already solved, right? So if you have truly benefited from some solution that has been posted by someone else, please do return the favor and mark that as a solution. You can see that right there, that that particular post has been actually marked as a solution. So that's a great way of giving back, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if you also, I think, Andy, that's a great point. So when you're searching for a solution and you find that like some of those specific posts or some of that, like as you can see for it's a thread. So
Yep.
once somebody asks a question, not just like one person comes and responds, like there's like 10 different people that jumps in and like tries to help you,
Yep.
which is truly wonderful.
And there
So
can be
when you
multiple solutions, right?
exactly. So which is where like if you find like okay, out of that 10 solutions, I like 5 of them, you can
Yep.
just come and give them some love, like
Yep.
that post, so that they know like okay, some of that was helpful.
Yep.
And if out of that 10, like 2 were really good, select one solution and mark it as a solution, like what he said.
Yep.
And the other one last thing is that, like, if you are like answering somebody else's question and you already know there is a reference post that I can reference, you can just use this link and like give them that, pass on that solution. So
Right.
what you're doing is like just sharing somebody else's knowledge so that you don't have to like, recreate or like, reinvent.
Reply.
Yep.
Yeah. So, one of the last things is once you get to know the forums, solve your problems, and you come up with a solution to your own problem, you don't have to wait for someone to post a question so that you can respond. There is a category in the forums called tutorials,
Yes.
right? So a new post can also be a proactive post from yourself, right? Let us say you came up with a great use case for solving a problem, and you feel you want to share it with the community. You can go to the forums, and there is a category called product tutorial or demo, and you can post it in your own form. You can post it as a text post right there. You can post it as a video and link that video there. You can write a blog elsewhere on your own website and link it here. So don't be held back and wait for someone to post a problem question. If you have a solution, put it out there, right? And that's a great way of logging your skills someplace, so that 2 years later, 3 years later, you can still come back and revisit the problem you solved and refresh your memory. And most possibly, you'll find that very useful.
Yeah, I still do that. I mean, like
Yeah.
on a day-to-day basis, sometimes I don't remember the solution what I wrote. So I will come back and look at my own post and see like, is that the same syntax that I used?
Right.
So always feel free, just come here, ask the questions. And if you don't know like how to use, or there are certain guidelines to make sure that you maintain like any kind of just like every other community, you have like certain community guidelines in terms of the language and the content that you're posting, and make sure that you're not posting any of your company the specific sensitive content here.
Yep.
Making
Any
sure
your
that
personal information or your
yeah,
company information, work information. Yeah.
Right.
and no
True.
spams, definitely no spams.
I think community moderators do very active job.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are plenty of community moderators are out there who maintain the sanity of
Mhm.
the platform. So kudos to them.
Do not assume anything when you ask a question. Try to write a question in the way that everybody understands it, so that your chance of getting the response is maximized.
Right. And stay active. And I would suggest be active,
Yeah.
don't be shy, and
Yep.
come often to the platform. You'll get used to it.
So keep your questions coming and keep helping other people, and happy automation.
Yep. Happy automating,
Yeah.
folks. And
And
I've been thinking.
let us know in the comment the first post that
Yeah.
you liked and the first post that you created yourself.
And one of the things, folks, we have spoken at length about forums, but and some of these things are, we have realized along the way how many benefits are there, because posting something to the forum may look like, hey, what's this, just posting a question to the forum? No, it's about your entire journey and how much benefit you can get out of it in the end, right? So this might have been a detailed talk, but it is not to be taken lightly. And it is definitely going to benefit you in the long run. So with that said, I think we'll bring this video to an end, and I hope you definitely learned something new, and you come back to the forums and post your questions and get interactive. And we hope to see you in the forums. And also, please do comment below and let us know, what kind of content you would like to see in the future.
And like, share, and subscribe to our channel.
Yep. Absolutely. Bye bye. Until
Right.
next time.
Bye, until next
Bye,
time.
everybody. Thank you. Thank you, guys.